Good afternoon. Welcome to the After 9 show, Pastor Brian Trevail.
Still morning.
Every time you do that. I was like, why is he checking his watch so aggressively? Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the After 9 show.
Well, it's pretty much noon.
What time is it? Oh, okay. Well, 20 minutes.
We'll be going for lunch soon.
Yeah. You're right. Well, my name is Pastor Sarah Quinlan, and I have with me one of my faves, Pastor Brian Trevail.
I'm here.
Yeah, he's here. And we're excited just to get right into the lesson that we learned today. Now, this series this year is a Trust in the Lord series. Last year we did Contending for the Presence of God. So it's on the same kind of pathway, but I really enjoyed today's message, and I had two things I wanted to touch on. But before I do you want to say anything?
No, I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
Then I'll critique them.
Okay, perfect. So if you're just joining us now, I would encourage you to go back and watch the message and then come back and talk to us, because we'll be here. But we don't want to give you any spoilers because we're going to spoil it, but in a good way. Okay. So the one thing that I had made note of was Naomi, in the season of life that she was in, she had to go back to Moab, I believe it was, right? And it said she became bitter. To the point of saying her name actually meant the Lord has dealt bitterly with me.
Yeah.
Okay? So she had this season of actually changing her name to be the way that she felt. She's bitter. But still, God ended up providing her with Obed, right? And this relationship with Ruth. And so I thought it was kind of cool to see that. Like, sometimes in life, it's easy to be able to keep up your heart, like
when
be
things
strong.
are going good.
Yeah. When things are going good, it's easy to be strong with it, but then there's going to be days where it's not. And with I always get Naomi and Ruth confused, but it was Naomi. She lost not only her husband, but both of her sons, and then she had thought she was going to lose these daughter-in-laws as well, but she only lost one of them. But God restored to her all of these things, to the point of even putting her family in the lineage of Jesus Christ. And I really loved that.
Yeah. So that kind of takes it back to Pastor Howie's message on seeds. Yeah. And you don't know what seeds are in you until you put it in the ground, or what fruit is coming from your seed until you plant it.
That's right.
And see it through to gestation, right? And we never know what's really God's plan sometimes. He's kind of Jehovah sneaky.
Yes,
and, he brings things unexpectedly. He moves us unexpectedly. But I really like the analogy of the exit ramps. Yep. I think that's such an interesting illustration, because when you think about exit ramps, you think about, a way off the highway or way off the route. But here's what's interesting. When you're looking for a way out, it's not what's going on around you that's the problem. It's what's going on inside you. Yeah. That's the problem. Yeah. And that's just the way God works. We have to understand that when we're uncomfortable to the point of wanting to change the route, we need to look inward, not for a new route.
That's right. And I think that's a really difficult mentality to be able to accept, is that, nobody wants to be like, oh, I'm the problem. Like, am I the problem? Yes. Sometimes.
Well, that's what James says, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looking into the word and not doing what it says is like looking into the mirror and not making the corrections, more or less, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? I think it's really great. And that's just a sign of maturity to be able to say that, and there are times in relationships too, where even I have to say, like, I realize that I this is actually a personal story, is I'm in a relationship now, which I haven't been ever in my life. So I have this person now, and sometimes it's easier for me just to do things myself than to include,
I never said a word.
than to include him in that conversation. And I keep catching myself saying, like, listen, I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm not trying to be difficult. But then the other day we were talking about it. I was like, you know what? I trust myself more than letting people in to help me.
Right.
And
what is that, by the way?
It's independence.
Learned behavior.
Oh, it's a learned behavior.
Learned behavior. If we're trusting in God and trusting in others, because our ability to trust is really based on our ability to trust God.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So if we're really being honest, anxiety is areas that we don't trust God with. It's fear.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I think it's a learning process, because a lot of times, if I would have said to you 6 months ago, you got fear in you, you'd have probably said, get out of here, right? But it's funny how God exposes things, but he's working it through where, even though he's working that out of you, I'm guaranteeing you he's working something out in him. Yeah. Right? So God uses it to more or less purify all of us of the dross of our spirit.
Yeah. Yeah, and that, they touched on that too, is that it's okay to receive help and love from your community.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really good, because, sometimes, like, this is something I've been learning too, that when you're not saying the truth, you're not acting in love, because the truth is love.
Absolutely.
And if there's things that need to be said or things that need to be discussed, like if there's a blind spot in my life, I want my pastors to be able to show me that, and help me walk through that. But for them not to tell me that that's not loving me. And, there's times where I get those kind of things, and it can be a little stingy, like it can hurt a little bit. But you know what? It makes us better, and it makes us aware of the things in our lives that we need to adjust.
Yeah, and I think, I can really put this in a pretty easy summary.
Okay.
We're not going to change by doing things the same way.
No. Doesn't it say, like, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the challenge, is in order to change, it's going to feel uncomfortable.
That's right.
Right? And just because it's uncomfortable does not mean it's not good. But, I think, honestly, it's a life verse for me, is Romans 8:28. If God's doing it, it's going to work for good.
That's right.
Because I'm called according to his purpose. He loves. Right. I love him. He loves me, right? Yeah. So I think that is foreign when we're in the battle. And again, when we're looking for that exit ramp, it's not what's going on around us. It's what's going on. Inside. So really, it's the ability to not trust, or really believe that God is doing the best for us.
Yeah. It's that flight, fight, or freeze mentality, right?
I feel unsafe. I feel insecure.
Gotta go.
I gotta get out of here, because if I don't take care of me, who will? Right?
Exactly. Yeah. And then, you know what? It's okay to work through these things as Christians, because we're human beings as well, right?
I would say if you're not working through them, you're probably not growing.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
That would be my
comment.
It's
a good thing to look at. So if you have no plans this weekend and you desire to become a better version of yourself and to have a closer connection with the people around you and with God, I would encourage you to come on out to the 9th hour.
Oh, 9th hour,
Did you like that plug?
That's a very good advertisement, yes.
Pastor Brian and Karen will be there, myself will be there, and we got a few other people. And, it's going to be a really powerful weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. And, if you need more information on that, feel free to give us an email at info@i9church.com. Otherwise, prayer tomorrow night, 6:30, YouTube, and the Lighthouse. Did I miss something? No, YouTube and Rumble and Facebook. Oh my gosh. But otherwise, we really love you, and we would love to see growth, and we love to see us as a church, as a community, grow closer to God. So any final closing words, Pastor?
Well, and I think it really is what Jesus said, if we could change ourselves, if we could forgive ourselves, we wouldn't need Jesus and the cross.
Yeah.
So, to be dependent on something outside of ourself is really biblical. It's really what Christianity is all about.
That's right. That's
my parting thought.
Pastor Brian and Sherry actually ended the message with a quote. I didn't get to it, but it said, this wasn't where I'm butchering it probably, but wasn't where I thought it was going to go, but it ended up being, it ended where I intended to be. So just trusting in God to know that, if the journey doesn't look the way that you thought, you're probably okay. Hang on.
And the reality of it is, it very seldom looks the way we think it's going to look.
That's right.
If we're not being challenged on the way, we're probably not on the right path in the first place.
That's right. Well, we love you. God loves you. And we just encourage you to, as always, light the passion within you.
Oh, you remembered.
I remembered.
That was good.
You like that?
I did.
Have the best day of your life, and we'll see you tomorrow night at the Lighthouse.